Hello, I'm Pao, and in this video, I'm bringing you a really interesting case that you've been requesting for a long time.
Honestly, at first I didn't want to do it because it's a sad case, but it's an important one, so we're gonna talk about it. By the way, sorry if I mispronounce any names since they're Korean names, but now let's get started. Jungin was born on June 10th, 2019 in South Korea. She was put up for adoption when she was 8 days old by her biological mother, who wasn't in a position to take care of her. 2 months later, a family showed up wanting to adopt the little girl. This couple had already adopted a baby girl before. They had stable jobs and seemed to be a good family. They visited the institution frequently and started the adoption process. Normally, the adoption process is difficult and, in general, the whole thing is very demanding, since the institution has to make sure that the people who want to adopt are suitable and capable of doing so, of being able to give the baby a good life. They also run a lot of tests to see if they're psychologically stable and if they can support the baby. But the institution trusted this couple, especially since they had already gone through the adoption process before. Finally, in February 2020, the adoption was completed. Everything seemed perfect. Jungin had a new family that loved and cared for her. The family took part in a Korean program called An Average Family, where these parents are shown super excited and happy to have this new member in their family. And the dad said this: "I wanted to show the world that not only celebrities, but also people like us can choose adoption. Adoption isn't something you should be ashamed of, but something that should be celebrated." Even though the perfect family image was all a lie. In March, a month after the adoption, when Jungin was in preschool, the teachers noticed he had a large bruise on his head. In April, they noticed bruises again on other parts of his face, like on his cheek. The teachers became concerned and decided to report it to the authorities so they could do something about it. However, the police told them that the injuries weren't that serious, that it didn't seem to be a life or death situation, so they let it go and didn't do anything. As time went on, the little girl had more and more injuries, on her legs, on her arms. She even had to wear a back brace because it seemed she had a fracture. It wasn't just the teachers who noticed this and started to worry. A neighbor of Jungin also noticed that one afternoon, the baby was left locked inside the car with the windows rolled up, which put her in great danger. So she called the authorities to report what was happening. But when the police arrived, once again, they did nothing. Jungin stopped going to preschool for a while. Her parents didn't mention the reason, but when she came back, the teachers were shocked by the baby's appearance. She had lost a lot of weight in a short period of time. The comparison is striking, and this is not normal for a baby. The teachers were very worried and scared, since they knew this wasn't the first time the girl had shown signs of abuse. They knew they couldn't go to the authorities because they probably wouldn't do anything, so they took her to the hospital without telling her parents. When the pediatrician was examining her, she was horrified by the baby's condition. She was severely dehydrated, malnourished, and overall, Jungin was not healthy at all. The pediatrician decided to go to the authorities to report the case, but once again, the police did absolutely nothing. They didn't take away custody, didn't start an investigation, didn't press charges against the parents, although they did ask them a few questions just to smooth things over. But the mother was very angry that they had taken the baby to the hospital without her consent. She was also defensive and kept making a lot of excuses, like saying the bruises were because the baby had fallen, or that she was playing and didn't notice and bumped into something. She also mentioned that the scratches the baby had on some parts of her body were because she scratched herself too hard, and that the marks on her body weren't bruises. There were other marks. I'm not really sure what they were, but basically she said they were genetic or birthmarks, even though the baby wasn't born with those marks. On October 12, 2020, while the baby was at preschool, the security cameras captured how Jungin appeared to be weak and exhausted. She seemed to be seriously ill, scared, and in a very fragile state of health. The teachers wanted to take the little girl back to the hospital, but they knew her mom would get really angry about it, since last time she didn't take it well at all. so they decided not to take her to the hospital because they thought that if they did, maybe the mom would take out her anger on the baby. The next day, October 13th, the baby's mother took a taxi and brought Jungin to the emergency room because of her critical condition. When they arrived at the hospital, unfortunately, it was already too late. The baby had passed away. Even so, the doctors did everything they could to try to revive her, but it was too late. The doctors reported that her entire body was injured, from her feet to her head. She had large bruises, wounds, and internal bleeding. Her pancreas was destroyed, and her intestine was perforated. Overall, they were shocked by the number of injuries the little girl had and how she endured so much pain for so long, since she had fractures that were months old. The autopsy revealed that the cause of death was the external injuries she had received. The girl had a very severe rupture in her pancreas, caused by extreme force. Jang, the little girl's adoptive mother, told the police that the reason she had such a serious injury was because one time she was carrying her and dropped her on the floor. However, later on, experts conducted an experiment with a mannequin and proved that it was actually a much more serious injury and that it couldn't have been caused by a simple fall. Professional athletes struck the mannequin in the abdomen. A Taekwondo athlete reached 2,713 newtons of force, and a boxer reached 4,387 newtons. Yuntin's blows showed a force of up to 3,800 to 4,200 newtons, almost as strong as the boxer's. Just imagine all the pain that little girl must have suffered. They also did a final experiment where a woman stomped on the mannequin with force and reached up to 1,927 newtons, which shows us that the girl had been brutally tortured for several months. So far, her adoptive parents deny being responsible for these injuries, which led to the death of the little baby who was only 16 months old. They keep making senseless excuses, like saying the girl caused these injuries to herself. They also mention that they don't deserve all the hate they're receiving and that people are only against them because of the prejudices that exist about adoption. From what I understand, in several parts of Asia, adoption is very frowned upon and seen as something bad, but I'm not sure if that's the case in Korea. Later, it was revealed that the mother, Jang, had more than 800 videos showing her physically and psychologically abusing the girl. The case gained popularity after being featured on a TV program, and a campaign was launched where people are demanding justice for the baby. Many people are participating in this campaign, including celebrities and politicians. In addition to demanding justice for Jungin, people are calling for harsher penalties for those who commit this kind of violence against children. There is a formal petition being submitted to the government, and it has more than 200,000 signatures from Korean citizens. As for the parents' sentencing, the case is still under investigation and ongoing, so there is no final verdict yet. However, I saw several rumors or people saying that it's most likely they won't be charged with homicide, but rather with assault, since their intention was never to kill her. Although I find this pretty absurd. How can you hurt a baby that much and not expect that outcome? And it's not just the physical injuries, they also didn't feed her, she was dehydrated, and there was so much more. Overall, this case involves several crimes, and the fact that it was initially only being treated as assault seems absurd to me. Although right now, the mother is under arrest for child abuse, resulting in death. The father isn't under arrest, but he is being investigated. Similarly, there's also an investigation or a proposal to change police procedures, since it's shocking and infuriating that after several reports, the officers did nothing. It's horrible that all of this probably could have been avoided if they had just listened to the first report. As for the other baby they also adopted, I'm not sure what happened to her. From what I understand, she didn't suffer any injuries, but I don't know if she's still in their custody or if she was taken to an institution to go through the adoption process again. I'm not sure, but if I get any information, I'll keep you updated. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a really sad case. Honestly, when I was researching it, it hurt to learn about all the abuse this baby went through. And such a tiny baby. I can't understand how there are people so cruel in this world who are capable of doing that to a little one. I hope she gets justice, and that the people who abused her, who I can't even call parents, get what they deserve and spend many years in prison. I also hope they change that whole police procedure, because the fact that they did nothing is really serious. And they said the injuries weren't serious enough, but the little girl ended up dead, and all of this could have been avoided if they had done their job properly. Please leave your opinion in the comments section because I love reading them. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. If you want to follow me on my social media, here's my mediocre Twitter where I don't post anything interesting, but if you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to do so. And also my Instagram, where you definitely have to follow me because I post pretty pictures and I'm a bit more active in my stories. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!